I will have a time at the end for questions and answers, but if you're like me and you have the memory of a hamster and you need to ask right now, you can always raise your hand and we'll get to it. So, we're going to start with why, right? Why might we pay attention to what we eat and care about our diet? There's a lot of different reasons, okay? Weight loss and weight gain concerns, right? And that could be medical or aesthetic. So medically, I could be clinically obese and I need to lose weight to be healthy, right? Medically, I could be clinically underweight and I need to gain weight to be healthy. Those are things you would want to talk to a dietitian or nutritionist about, not me, right? But I can give you some good advice, okay? Aesthetics, now that's my business, man. Like that means I look good, right? So I want to lose weight to look good. I want to gain weight to look good, gain muscle to look good, right? That is the aesthetic side of things. I am more than qualified to talk to you about that, all right? Then we have medical issues. So now this is no longer necessarily weight gain or weight loss. Right? We've got diabetes, cholesterol, a myriad of other things. We're finding now that diet can, as I insinuated earlier, can affect sleep. It can help us fight certain cancers, right? Tons of different diseases. And diet, we talked about this the other day, diet is one of the things you can do here in this place that will lower all-cause mortality. Right? Improving your diet, getting fit, and having good friends around you. So gyms are a great place. Because all three of those things lower all-cause mortality. If you can get some good sleep in there, you got the 4x4, man, that's it. All right? Finally, we have, sorry, not finally. Next slide is only 3, I think. Sport or work performance. This is something I'm super qualified for. This is actually what my FNS is all about, is improving your performance through your diet, empowering you through intelligent nutrition choices to live your best life, get the best rolls you can, spar better, right, lift better, all that stuff. That is my super wheelhouse. We'll get into that a lot today as well. This is important, cultural accommodations and religious adherence. So, I have to eat kosher. In my religion, we don't eat pork. In my religion, we don't eat this, we don't eat that, right? Or, hey, culturally, we don't eat fish here. We live in Montana, and we only eat cows. Whatever, right? Whatever the case may be. So there's a lot going on with that as well. And I personally, as a professional, I try to be very sensitive to that. And when you guys leave here, you are all going to be empowered with the intelligence to help others. You need to be sensitive to that. You have been eating longer than you have been talking. You have been eating longer than you have been walking. The only thing you've been doing longer than eating, I think you eat in the womb a little bit, don't you? So, not a lot much else, right? You've been eating before you were seeing. There's something very emotional, very deeply attached to the consumption of food. Does that make sense? That's why people can sort of, no, I won't eat the way you tell me. I'm eating this way, right? Because it's very, very deeply emotional, okay? That means some of you guys might have some tightness today when I make certain suggestions. Know that, again, I'm coming from the place of trying to be as nutritious as possible. I'm very, very sensitive to people who want to be vegetarian or vegan for economic or religious concerns, ethical concerns, all that stuff. We're with it. And that is our final point as well. Make sense? Sound good? Fantastic. Moving right along. What we're going to talk about today are just these 2 points. I'm not going to get into religion or ethics or any of that stuff. Good. A couple of drinks maybe, but not right now. Meet me at the bar afterwards. But we're going to start with weight loss and weight gain. Right, we'll talk about that quite a bit. You have to choose, I believe, between adding muscle or losing fat. Right? Doing both is a fool's errand. Right? It's like trying to punch and kick at the same time. To make that a little bit more efficient for you guys. Some people can do it, but maybe you can't. Right? It's pretty tough. Okay? Very, very, very tricky. And neither one of these happen in a vacuum. Even if you're really on point, right? If I just want to build muscle, I'm going to have to gain a little bit of fat. If I just want to lose fat, I am probably going to lose a little bit of muscle. Now, we'll talk about ways to mediate those undesirable benefits when we're trying to create. But odds are it's going to be happening a little bit here and there. Today, we're going to talk about all this without talking about calories or meal prep. Because for me, what I've found, working with clients over the last decade and a half, those are things that make people fail. Especially initially, right? You don't learn your berimbolo sweep on your first day on the mats. Unless you're maybe way better than me, it's possible, right? But so yeah, spinning back fist is not a day one move, right? So the meal prep, right? The calorie counting, those are to work in our parlance. A lot of you guys understand that's the purple belt shit, right? That's down the road, and the stuff we'll talk about today will lead you to that. Does that make sense? Fantastic. See how we're making it the cultural connection? It's great. All right, performance benefits. We're also going to be talking about how to properly fuel for training, right? And what ways do we want to eat so that we don't crash halfway through a training session, so that we don't get into a slump, get that brain fog, all those things. We don't want that, right? We'll discuss that as well. We're going to get a little bit today into macronutrients, micronutrients, as well as nutrient timing. I don't want to get too deep into that, because that is actually another separate, but it's the whole thing, right? But we will talk briefly about some of those things, especially the macro and micronutrients. All right, proceeding. There we go. All right, if at any time you guys want to take photos of these, I put a lot on these. I will also try to find a way to get the slides available for download. We'll try to work that out, but there are a few slides I will encourage you to take photos of. But anytime you see one where you're like, that'd be good to know, feel free to take a photo. I will not yell at you or anything. So, today's theme is the KISS principle. Mostly, I learned this from my uncle who was in the Marines, and I find a lot of military guys know about KISS. So keep it simple, stupid. Right? So I think that's great. I love simple stuff. I love the basics. I love that low-hanging fruit. Right? Why would I climb when I could grab the fruit here? So, point number one, for a healthy, strong, good diet, eat lots of vegetables. And for this category, we're talking about every vegetable except fibrous fruits, which are going to be, really for us, for our purposes, starchy carbs. Right? So potatoes, sweet potatoes, yams, right? There are some that are sort of on the cusp here, which can go either way depending on how active you are. And those would be turnips, carrots, radishes, so the roots that aren't quite so carbohydrate dense. Those, for some of us, may be in this eat with abandon category, but for others, maybe we need to watch a little bit. And that's going to be depending on how much weight you need to lose and how desperate you are to lose it, right? But by and large, you can eat really as much as you want as far as vegetables go. It's very, very hard. And I might touch on this concept a couple of times, but a mentor of mine made a great point about this was how often you run into somebody and you go, oh my God, Jim, you've gained so much weight, what happened? It's the broccoli, man. All that broccoli, steamed broccoli, just kills me. I don't know. Never, right? No, it's the Doritos and the pizza, right? So this is a great place if you're I am what I call a volume eater. I need to eat a lot. That's why I was fat for a long time. So for me, eating a lot of vegetables is great. It's very satiating, the fiber. Okay? For our protein, right? We want to think about lean meats as our primary protein selection. And I want to get this through you guys' head multiple times today. I'm not going to demonize any foods. I'm not. Okay? And nor should you. We're talking about best case scenarios here, our optimal sources, okay? And for us, it's going to be lean protein, which is white meat, turkey, or chicken, most fish, low-fat ground meat, that's 90% or leaner, okay? And then larger animal cuts would include the round, the chuck, the sirloin, the tenderloin, and then believe it or not, eggs and egg whites I generally categorize, depending on the person, as a pretty lean protein. If you're trying to lose weight, maybe egg whites are better than eggs. But otherwise, if you're looking for performance, I'm okay with eggs as a lean protein source, right? And if you're pending cholesterol issues, things like that. So, for vegetarians and vegans, I prefer, where we can, yogurt and eggs if they're willing, right? Or soy products. We want it to be as whole as possible. Your best vegan protein sources are going to be your tempeh and your tofu, okay? And you want to avoid, like the plague, all the faux meat going out there right now. There's a lot of weird stuff in that, all right? So if you can get your tempeh and your tofu, your fermented soy products, much healthier, much cleaner, much better for the body, and that's where we're going to head, right? And I want, again, right, to reiterate, non-lean protein isn't the devil, right? We're not going to demonize any foods today. We're going to be talking a lot about this idea, and I'm sure it's actually going to be a bullet point at some point, but for me, and I say this in class too, I say it over there when I teach, over there when I teach, over here when I teach. Don't let perfect get in the way of good, right? Just because you can't do it perfectly doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying to do the best you can, right? And that's a big concept we'll have today. So if you're like, Coach, I can't get these, all we had was the pork shoulder we had from lap, fine, I'm with it, right? That's still better than just eating pizza all the time, all right? For our carbohydrates, and these words will all make more sense a couple slides from now. For your carbohydrates, right? You want to eat mostly fibrous root vegetables or whole grains, and at least 1 to 2 servings of fruit a day. Okay? For us, root vegetables, like I said earlier, are primarily going to be potatoes, yams, and beets, and sweet potatoes, right, which are slightly different. Our carrots and parsnips and radishes, those things go either way, depending on the person. For most people, I count them as vegetables. It's only when someone's quite obese or overweight where I say, hey, maybe we pull back on those as well. But generally speaking, we're going to count those as a eat with abandon kind of vegetable. Whole grain pasta, in my opinion, is not a whole grain food. It's not. The benefit of the whole grain food comes from the fiber and the digestion and a lot of stuff that's carried that when it's processed, we still lose. So for me, we're looking at rice, and I actually like white rice as well for people, so I just put rice down. If you have digestive issues or a history of digestive problems, I have never met someone except for Russell who had trouble with white rice. The only person. And then white rice is good for everybody. Brown rice, if tolerated well, is a great source. And then I'm a big fan of oats, personally, as another carb source there. Not a fan, because it usually comes up in the question and answer section, of quinoa. It's a seed, and it can do some weird stuff to your gut. And it's also just not as good of a carb or protein source as the marketing behind it might make you want to believe. Right? I like all fruits, and so should you. But the best ones for weight loss will be our high fiber, low sugar options. This is going to be primarily berries and citrus. Okay? Your tropical fruits are generally going to be the highest sugar, lowest fiber. Okay? Where, and there's a whole range in between, right? But that's usually how that's going to sort out. Again, that's mostly for weight loss, right? But we don't want to demonize any foods here. It's not what we're here today. For fats, I really prefer olives, avocados, nuts, and seeds. Okay? And again, we'll talk about how this all plays out a little bit later. But we love nuts, we prefer these nuts. Cashews, and almonds, and coconuts. All right? Those are our big winners as far as, again, our nutrient value, fighting some inflammation stuff there. So there's a big benefit to those nuts in particular. But not opposed to, peanuts are a legume. So you always want to check. Some folks have legume allergies. Red kidney beans are actually banned in a couple countries because people find them so disastrous to their gut. I think it's a genetic thing. But always check out the peanuts as a legume, right? It's not necessarily a nut. Or not actually a nut, sorry. For seeds, pumpkin seeds, or the pumpkin, definitely are healthiest seed, ounce for ounce, the pumpkin seed. So big fan of those. We go into why, but we'll be here all day. And then portion management for nuts and seeds and olives and all this is get tricky. We'll get into that a little bit later. We are going to talk a lot about portion management and how we can learn to manage our portions without really weighing, measuring things, and meal prep. Okay? But just remember, when we get to the section later about fat portion, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is really annoying. So just know that's coming, right? Questions so far? Stop. That's a great question. When I write meal plans for my clients, I do tend to front load fruit earlier in the day because it is that higher sugar content. But don't not eat fruit later, especially if you're like, well, I'm really hungry and there's an apple here, but coach said no fruit later. No, it's stupid, right? It's an apple, it's healthy, it's fine, eat it. But if I can have my preference for, and again, this is a range, right? If I have my preference, I do like to front load fruit because we tend to be more active. Now, if you're more active later in the day, like a lot of you guys are, a lot of you guys are behind a keyboard in the morning, and then you come here at night, then we want the fruit later in the day, right? Because that high sugar is really going to be a good fuel source for our activity. So I really try to put the fruit around activity. For me, that's earlier in the morning. So it depends on the person. Make sense? This is a really good question. All right. Why are these foods? No one asked that. Sometimes it gets asked, but here we are. I was going to be like, just wait, I have a slide, but no one asked. All right. So, our principal satiety. So 3 things cause the body to feel full. Fullness helps us from overeating, right? Fiber, protein, and fat, right? So they're really important things for us. Fiber is also going to encourage a healthy gut biome and healthy digestion. Protein is anabolic. Your body actually burns 20% of the calories you consume when you consume protein. It's wild, right? So if you eat chicken, because your body has to work harder to digest it and process it, it actually burns some extra calories when it's eating that. So that's pretty neat. And protein also helps your muscles grow. A lot of you guys are pretty active, right? You need protein to encourage muscle growth. How much? Wait for later. But for now, right, just know that that's an important thing for you. And then fat is the best thing at signaling satiety to the brain. Satiety is that feeling of fullness again, right? That idea of, I've had enough, right? So, and let me tell you guys, fat is the #1 driver in the body for the hormone production cycle, and it is also a large component of your brain. Your brain is largely fat and water. Kind of gross, right? Sloshing around your skull right now, fatty, watery lump. So that's important. When your brain seeks to repair itself, it needs fat to do so. Okay. Nutrient density. Again, if I had to name the diet style, I believe it is Nutrivore, right? We're trying to eat the highest nutrient density foods possible. I want the most vitamins and minerals per calorie I can get. For me, that is the key to increasing performance with the diet, is driving up that amount of vitamins and minerals. Okay? You're really working the room. Nutrient variety. You should be trying to eat foods of all different colors. Makes life real easy to manage nutrient variety. If you're excluding certain color groups, it can be a real tricky way to make sure that you're getting all your vitamins and minerals your body needs to survive. So generally we break it down into white, which onions, potatoes, radishes, right, turnips, yellow, bananas, yellow peppers, yellow cauliflower, those are all easy, right? Some potatoes, right? Purple/blue, right? So blueberries, eggplant, purple peppers, seaweed counts there. Red, obviously, right? You have some red foods. Tomatoes, apples, so on and so forth. Green, all your lettuces, fruit vegetables. That's it. Sea moss? Green. Actually, it's probably purple. If we really look at the nutrient content, so that's actually a fun question. No one ever asked this. This is great. Marine algae is the most, or marine sea life is the most nutrient-dense stuff on the planet, both plant and animal. Supremely more so than land-based stuff. It's crazy. So like seaweed beats the shit out of cabbage any day of the week in nutrient density. And most fish and shellfish wipe the floor with chicken and beef, etc., right? It's just generally more expensive and getting harder and harder to find it without tons of mercury in it. So that's the tricky part of that. But yeah, generally speaking, marine stuff is very, very healthy. All right. Any questions? Yeah.
So again, like the other one, is it better to eat fiber in the morning and protein and fat, or is it?
So it's actually sort of the opposite of the idea of sugar, right? I don't necessarily want a lot of fiber when I go train, right? But I don't really monitor fiber too much with clients. I just sort of let them eat what they're going to eat, because you would have to eat a ton for it to really have a negative detriment to your activity. And fiber has a great job of self-regulating because you have intestines. And so you'll know pretty quick if you're getting too much and not enough. Don't want to get it out, but... All right, portions. If you take a picture of any slide, this might be a good one, which I say here. But this is a really easy way to weigh and measure food, and you're all going to have to look at your hands now. So have fun with that. But let's talk about an easy guide to portions. This is very varied on purpose, because you're going to have to play around. my dad used to have this saying that I love. Yeah, draw a triangle. I should have put the triangle up here. There, Mark. Yes. You guys have all seen this before. If you've been to any of my seminars, it seems to come up a lot. And it's neat because it's like one of the things that my dad taught me that still, to this day, is like a big part of my life. My dad's taught me a ton over the years. But the two biggest lessons he taught me were this triangle and to trust everyone to be who they are. I love that one, right? So trust the snake to be a snake and trust the good person to be a good person, but don't think they're going to change too easy, all right? So this is my dad's triangle of sort of life here, right? So the trick to this triangle is you can only have two things at a time on the three, right? So we have cheap, fast, and good, right? And occasionally I'll make fast easy, right? It's the same idea. And good is going to be quality. It's a qualitative statement, right? So this is a very cheap and fast way to manage portions. I'm not making you pay for a meal plan, right? You guys can go home and do this today. It takes some while. It's going to be good, right? So quality-wise, this is going to be a tricky way to manage your portions. Now, that being said, it's not going to take years. It's going to take maybe a couple of months to figure out your rhythm here. And the whole time, as long as you're following the rest of the rules here, you're going to be doing okay. Right? You're not going to be doing bad. You're just going to be doing okay. And then as time goes on, you'll do better. Okay? So, proceeding. Everyone has their hands, I hope. If you lost your hands, you're in trouble. And I can't help you. But if you have your hands, let's reflect on this. So, 3 to 5 meals a day. At each meal, the following will occur. 2 big handfuls of vegetables. That is, this is a big handful. I can be heaping here, right? 2 big handfuls of vegetables. Protein. 1 palm-sized protein for women, 2 for men. We'll go over why the sexism occurs later. It's not sexism. There's a reason behind it. We'll get into it though, right? So, that is palm-sized both in size and in thickness. So you can't get like a piece of ground beef that's like this wide and you're like, ha 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 ha, right now. This is the thickness, right? So about the size of like a burger patty, right? 1 palm size for women, 2 for men. Carbs, a level handful, so that is going to be directly across from where your forearm is to your fingers if you cut. Okay? Again, 1 for ladies, 2 for men. Okay? Fat, 2 finger sized. I use the pointer and the bird. I use those, okay, for fat. Now the tricky part is you get 2 of these for ladies, 4 for men. The trickiest part of that is that only really works for avocados, nuts, and seeds and nut butters. But if you got olives, it's a little tricky, right? Olives are more of a handful kind of thing. Okay? And you're going to be looking at 1 handful for women, 2 for men. Now, this, what I have found in my practice, these portions work best, are most accurate if you're eating 3 meals a day. I find with a lot of people, if you're going 5 meals a day, it's going to be too much. But it depends. It depends. If you're a construction worker and you're coming here to train, 5, you might need 5 with all this food, right? But if you're working at the desk all day long coming here to train, it might be better on the 3 meal. Okay? And the next thing is you can sort of play around and measure this either way, right? There's a lot of flexibility to this. Okay? Now, again, this is not sexist. It's just that men tend to be larger and carry more muscle mass and therefore burn more calories. That just tends to be the case. It is not always true, right? I have trained, I used to train a lifter who was a woman, was 5'10", 180. She probably burnt more calories than a lot of the guys in here, right? And her legs could do, you know. So that's a different situation, right? But on average, this is a good place to start. I really like this method because it allows you to eat anywhere, at any time, with a plan. I promise we wouldn't really count calories today. I promise we wouldn't talk about meal prepping today. But you cannot not have a plan. We'll go over that again later, but just I'm going to keep saying that. You cannot not have a plan if you want to succeed and be successful, right? You have to have strategy. You have to have tactics. I'm sorry. Otherwise, we'll be a very different place. Okay? But especially today when you can go out to Popeyes and buy whatever you want if you like shit for the rest of the day. So that. Baseline. So this is all the baseline here, guys. You will have to modify this. People always ask me, how do I modify? Well, there's a couple different ways you can modify. You can modify based on feel. I hate that. Your feelings suck. They usually lie to you. We can base it on time. I like that, right? I like 2 weeks. If I haven't seen a change in 2 weeks, I need to take some food away or add some food in. Or if I've seen a change in the wrong direction in 2 weeks, I need to add some food in and take some food out. But give your body 2 weeks. Why? The body fluctuates naturally. There was my wife and I went to get ramen a couple months ago, and there's a lot of sodium in there, right? It's very heavy liquid, and she didn't finish her ramen, so I ate hers as well. And so that was a lot of sodium, right? And the next day, I weighed 205 pounds. I weigh myself every morning. Why? To keep my emotions out of it. It's just a data point. So I look at it every day. And I was like, whoa! Because the day before, I was 192. So, a little bit of sodium, you know. The next day, like 198, 197, 194, 192. I was back. So 3 days. The ramen was delicious though, so it was worth it. But that's a long time to be, if you only weigh yourself every 3 days or every 4 days, right, you could really be getting some bad data. So it's good to get an everyday metric, right? And I think Train Heroic has a spot for you guys to track it as well. I'm not sure. Dennis says yes, we're going with Dennis. All right, so good thing for you guys to look at. All right? So I like 2 weeks, and what I do with my clients, and I would encourage you guys to do with yourselves if you are so, if you are willing, is I add next week it's 191, and the week after that's 189, and then it's 192. All right, this is pretty normal. Now if it's 192, 195, 197, no, right? And that's how we stop accidents from happening, right? That's how you stop this. I don't know what happened, man. I gained 20 pounds. Well, it happened. It didn't happen overnight. It happened over weeks and weeks and weeks. So having data points are really good. And being able to adjust. If we see that starting to creep up, maybe I take away a handful of carbs, or a palm size of protein, or maybe I take away half a palm size of protein. I'm just seeing a little increase. I don't want to go crazy. But this system allows us to have a strategy. And that strategy can be modified based on the data we're receiving. Just like good jiu-jitsu. Just like good striking. Right? I'm not going to stick to this. If they get a punch in the face, this is not working anymore. Right? Maybe I need to do something different, right? To get things going. Right? So we have a strategy, now we can modify it to see better results. Okay. The mindfulness is the real key. We're going to talk a lot today about mindfulness of eating. Right? Because how many of you guys know how many palm-sized portions of protein you had last week? Right? But you should. Yeah, good. Alright, so this just brings that sense of mindfulness in. Right? That we know what's going on. If you don't have that, guys, you're just mindlessly eating, it's very, very easy for things to go awry one way or the other. And you don't know what happened. People come in all the time like, Coach, I feel bad today. Did you sleep well last night? I don't know. How's your diet? I don't know. Well, those are really big clues. That could be why you feel bad, right? Like, we know this stuff. So instead, you can be like, well, you know what, it is interesting. I had, normally I've been eating a lot of chicken, and I had, like, this really fatty steak last night. And I feel like I slept okay, but, like, could that have been it? Yeah, that was it. Right? That was the thing. And now we know for late, I'm like that. I can't have fatty steak at night. I don't sleep well. Or wine. So my dinners are very boring. But it's yogurt and vegetables. But, right? That can tell you a lot about how your body reacts. So, guys, again, please don't let perfect get in the way of good. Right? If you eat this way 5 times a week, and then you just royally screw up the other 2 days a week, That's way better than just being completely mindless about it. And as you get better, discipline is a muscle, guys. And so is mindfulness, right? These are things we get better at as we practice them. So as you get more into the habit of doing this, you will do it more often, you will do it more regularly, it will become easy, it will become almost mindless. Because you'll just start to know, this is what a meal looks like for me. And you will see a plate and say, this looks like too much food. I've been measuring with my hand, and I know it shouldn't look like this. There's 4 meals here, you know? And we live in the culture right now with 4 meals here at a time, right? Go get hibachi, man. It's so delicious. Like, it's 3,000 calories a plate, all right? So yeah, I got daily photos and slides. This one, the next one are both very dense. What?
I've noticed it doesn't mention any facts on yeast. Are there any good facts?
As long as you stay to those leaner cuts, we don't have to worry too much about it, right? So, no, not like the Go back a slide, right? We can only go forward, we can't go back. We come too far. Right, so as long as we're sticking to those leaner cuts, we don't need to worry about it, which makes our lives a lot easier. Now, you can trim the fat off your meat, but you're paying for it at the grocery store. You know? So, up to you. Right now it's like $9 a freaking pound, so I'd rather go a little leaner. Crazy.
So, a lot of times, like, I'll go to the grocery store and then, like, you can get overwhelmed very quickly.
We actually have grocery shopping later as a topic.
Okay, good. So I guess the question is like, processed or not? Like, I can get you turkey burgers that are frozen, they're processed, but then they're slammed with salt. So it's like, does it matter whether it's processed or not, as long as it's just, do we just need to keep it simple, or does that matter? The sodium matters, and processed food matters.
Sodium's tricky. We'll talk about sodium. Well, we'll talk about sodium now. A lot of people, hey, you go outside. You go outside? You good? You said good girl. So sodium is villainized heavily currently in society. Without it, you would die really fast. We got it. Yeah. So it's less bad than you think. If you don't have blood pressure problems, you don't need to worry about it too much. Right? It's only in the instance of I have a blood pressure or cholesterol, and then again, this is why yourself said, I'm not a dietitian. But 3 of my clients in the past have been dietitians, so no idea. Sodium's not going to be a big deal if you don't have a pre-existing condition. You can handle quite a bit more than you think. Now, don't go nuts, but man, I'm for it. You know, your best bet is to buy the ground turkey yourself, maybe burgers, freeze them, because then you know what's in it. But it's not the end of the world. Again, they're pre-made.
So at the beginning, you talked a little bit about like food being a very like cultural thing, something that you do with like your family stuff, and this is something that I'm able to do a lot better as an adult when it comes to the portion things. But this was something I started a lot when I was a kid, because I feel like the way like my family approached meals was not necessarily different things that you could see on a meal, like on a plate. So that was something my mother was like very against. We always ate like more homogenous meals. So do you have any advice on how to like measure or manage portion sizes when your meals are more homogenous?
It's tricky, yeah. Are you talking about like soups? Or are you talking about
not necessarily soups, but yes, soups, but also like chicken cacciatore or something like that.
Yeah. So the best thing to do is to prepare the ingredients separately and let people combine them together themselves. Right. That's what my family has drifted towards and things like that. But it can be really tough, man. I'm half Lebanese, and my dad is. When I was a kid, my dad was like, Dad, what? My mom's like, we're Lebanese. Like, Dad, what are we? And I goes, white. I was like, thanks. I could tell, right? I got the memo. But my dad has this joke about the Lebanese, which is they wake up, and the first thing they do is, we gotta get breakfast. And while we're eating breakfast, what are we doing for lunch? What's the plan for lunch, right? And that's discussed. And luckily, at lunch, we can talk about dinner, right? And then once dinner's being eaten, well, hey, you know what? Tomorrow, we're gonna have breakfast again. What should we do for breakfast, right? So it's just a very food-centric culture. And when I moved out, I think the first 5 or 6 months I was out of my house, this is a true story, I lost about 70 pounds. Yeah, because I was 215, big boy. And I got down to about 230, 240 just by moving out. It's crazy. So yeah, it's tough. But if you can, prepare the food separately. So have the noodles, have the sauce, have the meat. And the sauce is usually not a big factor, right? In a situation like that, it can be. We'll talk about sauces later. But if you can prepare and then compile, you can really manage the amounts, right? And that's what you'll find is that, there are no bad foods, right? And if you're only eating this much pasta, that's not bad, right? If the problem is it's this much pasta, it's this whole thing full of pasta. It's a dog dish full of pasta. That's when we run into trouble, right? Does that help?
Yeah.
A little bit? Yeah, soup's tricky, but generally broth is pretty low calorie, not a problem. So just try to look inside and see what's in there. And when you can, try to make things vegetable based, right? One thing that I take into a lot over the years is actually taking like pasta sauce and putting it on like chicken and cauliflower instead of chicken and pasta. It's still pretty good. I made cabbage noodles last week. They're pretty good. Right? Pretty good. Yep.
For like tempeh and tofu, is that kind of comparable to protein for meat, so you have to eat more of one?
So you're going to get less protein per, but it is super hard to get the same. It's tough because like animal protein is so villainized right now, and I don't want to. We're not talking about ethics. We're not. So all I'm going to say is we're going to say the science, which is that animal protein is by far a better protein source than plant protein. It's not comparable. It's completely not close. You have to do a lot of science to get the plant protein to be like kind of adequate, but then that's still just looking at amino acid profiles and not looking at other cofactors that assist digestion. So I mean, it's really, really tough to have, not to mention inflammation. It's really tough to get that sort of like, that same, I mean, there's a reason we eat animals, we eat animals. So it's the protein source. And if you have to you have to gauge them, believe it or not, beef has the best amino acid profile for humans. Eggs have the most complete amino acid profile. But if you're looking at like, you had to pick a perfect amino acid profile for the human being, beef is like 99% accurate. It's kind of crazy. And somehow we have evolved alongside steeds and cattle. Weird. Yep.
I've always read that soy products aren't good for men. Like,
Great question. There is a soy products can be estrogenic, but like so is me holding this cup because of the lining on the outside, right? There's a lot of stuff in our day-to-day life. You're more at risk of getting an estrogenic chemical in a shampoo or a soap than you are of getting a poor estrogenic result from a soy protein. It requires, you would need to be putting away the tofu. You'd be like the Pillsbury Doughboy, but all tofu. You'd have to be putting away a lot. And even then, it's really tricky. And a lot of times, when the soy product is fermented, as it is in tofu and tempeh, there's almost no estrogenic property. Whereas a soybean would have a much stronger estrogenic effect. So like soybean oil, really bad. Tofu, not so bad, because it's fermented and it's processed a little bit. Yeah?
Sorry, I got another question. Are you going to talk about oil at all? Or is that like...
I don't remember if I do. I think I do. But if not, we can. Yeah, so wait till the end. I think I have it on the slide. We talk about cooking methods. I think it's involved in there. All right. This is not going to last an hour. That's okay. You guys are all happy to be here. All right. Hey, look, I made it easier. Aha! All right, so I stole these. This one's from Precision Nutrition. They're a great company. If any of you guys want to get into this field or advance your knowledge a little bit, it's a very expensive accreditation, but they offer one of the best in the industry. I have been waiting to do it because I have my CSCS that requires continuing education. If you do the Precision Nutrition, it covers you for like 5 years. So I'm waiting until I have nothing else I care about, and then I'm going to do that. But I've read all their books, I've read all their stuff. They're an amazing company. The owner, I can't remember his name right now. He's a really smart guy, great scientist. I believe he's a chemist. And they're just a really, really cool company. So they actually drew this up, and I was like, man, that's so cool, because that's the way I teach. Right? So what we have here is water or tea, which is slightly against my religion. Maybe there's coffee in there as well, right? Black coffee. So water, coffee, or tea, protein. veggies, starches, fats, fruit, right? This is not a bad plate, guys. This is not, right? And if we wanted to take out that food and make it more starches, we totally could, right? So if this visual helps you a little bit, because you're like, how many, what? The hands, right? That's too much. We have this, right? This makes things a lot easier. And this is one I found years ago. I think it's on my phone from like 2014, guys. So if I knew who made it, I promise I would tell you. I love this one for anyone who's really desperate to lose weight. This makes it simple. If you are overweight and you eat like this religiously, you won't be overweight anymore. I would be like, I will study you because I want to know why, right? But like, as long as we're doing the protein and vegetable and carbs, which I talked about earlier, guys, this is just one of the best ways. And if you really care about like being lean, be prepared to eat a lot like this, right? And have a couple meals a day where this is gone and we have half plate of protein. If you really want to look like you want to do a photo shoot, get the bronzer out, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah? So that's how you got to eat. But guys, I love, this is great for overall health and wellness, and I really encourage you to go this way and just be happy. But if you really want to be lean, man, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. Okay? Make sense so far? So guys, if this is easier for you, please take photos. And again, you could do this. If you do this 80, 90% of the time, you can have cake the other days and be fine. Like, you'll be a pretty healthy. People will be like, that guy works out. You know, you won't be Nate, but who wants to be Nate, right? It's a great one. All right. Yeah, I love that slide. All right, tips and tricks. So I'm always looking to make things easier. How about you guys? Eat mindfully. Chew your food. They did a great study, and such a cool study a couple years ago. They ranked, this is a great point to my earlier protein point, they ranked plant proteins, different animal proteins, and they ranked them all, right? And they had this chart of which proteins were better, okay? And then another scientist said, wait, I want to test out something else. My grandma said, this is a true story, I was listening to science on the podcast, my grandma said that it's really more important that you chew your food. And you know what they found out? Grandma was right. It didn't matter what protein source it was if you weren't chewing it enough. Mastication, the art of chewing, right? Produces chemicals that begin to digest those proteins. Also, when we've masticated the food correctly and the food is in little pieces, our intestines process them better. So the protein, if you're not chewing it well enough, isn't going to be absorbed. The broccoli, if you chew it enough, it's not going to be absorbed. I think we go over this somewhere at some point. That's why like athletic greens work so well for so many people. Because you really have to chew. And it can be exhausting to chew all that vegetables. Right, yeah, nice strong jaw though, great for defending guillotines. I don't know, I chew everything. Right? That's what it's at, right? But chew your food. And this is going to talk about a dark side of my personality, but eat until 80% satiety. So for me, and some of you guys will get this, some of you guys think I'm crazy, I ask myself while I'm eating, if I had to fight someone right now, could I do it? If the answer is no, I ate too much. It's dark, right? What's wrong with red? It's always ready. But that's my mindset. Because think about it. If you were walking around out there, and there were no houses, and there were no supermarkets, and you killed what you ate, and knew something was going to come take it from you, that's what happened. Right? Or you waited for something else to kill something, and once he leaves, I'm eating that. He ain't eating the brain? I like brain. Oh, he's leaving some good bits, right? But he might come back any second, so I gotta be ready to go. So that's the practical side of that, right? That keeps you very healthy. Right? If I had to run away from a predator right now, or defend myself against whatever killed this thing, it's somewhere, right? We believe anthropologically that humans actually, for much of our history, were scavenger eaters. And that's why we became omnivores. And this is gross, but they believe the reason that we have these giant craniums is because due to our scavenging, a lot of animals don't like brains. And we were kind of like, I'm not picky, and this is free food, right? And one of the best ways to get a bigger brain is to eat more brain. Yeah, think about that one. So humans were big brain eaters, and it helped us get a big brain. That's what they believe. So keep that in mind. Avoid sauces and opt for dry. Again, guys, a lot of this is going to be health-based, but also most people come to me for weight loss, so a lot of this will be skewed towards that. We'll have a weight gain slide later, but avoid sauces and opt for dry seasonings. Season your food, guys, please. Buy some cookbooks, learn how to cook, right? Or buy food from places that do dry season their food. If you must have sauces, have them on the side. Dip your fork and then go to the food. Do not pour the sauce all over the food. And then, garçon, another please, right? And then, right, no, it's a bad idea, right? Sauces and dressings turn healthy options to unhealthy options very, very quickly. Due largely to the oils that are in them, but also to the higher calorie count. All right? Steam, roast, oil, and bake. Those are your best methods for retaining nutrient content. Right? Sort of. But for keeping calories down and keeping the food healthier, yes. Okay? So you do lose some nutrient content in some of these methods, especially boiling, roasting, and baking. But it's, when you actually look at it, guys, it's like 5 or 10%. It's not worth the, saving those nutrients by frying the food is cutting off your leg. It's just dumb. Lose weight. I lost weight. Great. Finally got to my goal, right? Not a good plan. So, pick lower calorie options when you're at restaurants or stores, right? And I've got a few of these that I thought were really cool. So if you get an apple as a snack, instead of a bag of chips, a small bag of chips, the ones you don't bother buying at stores, right? You know what I'm talking about, the little ones, you're like, this is dinky. Those are 150 calories on average. The ones you actually buy, like this size bag of chips, 450 on average. Again, we're not going to talk a lot about counting calories, but these numbers are important for you guys to understand. Right? So that apple, which in my opinion, I don't know you guys, is more filling than the bag of chips, is 1/5 the calories. Crazy. Crazy. Because we're trying to feel satiated, right? If I want to feel full and I need to grab a snack, reach for the apple, not the bag of chips. Beets, this is a simple trick. My wife's had to deal with this lately because I've been on a kick. Beets have 100 calories per cup, roasted. Potatoes, 190 per cup. So if I know I have to get my carbs in, I can swap out. So we've been doing a lot is half potatoes, half beets, and I roast them all together. And hey, I actually like beets, and they're pretty tasty. Or I'll do beets and sweets. I like that one. Beets and sweet potatoes. Beets and sweets. No, it's my rap name for when I make it big. But that's just an easy way to sort of modify things by trying to find that slightly lower calorie option that still is filling, still nutritious, right? With extra benefits. Drink water while you eat, or tea/coffee without cream or sugar. We generally want to avoid juice, even homemade juice. It's very, very hard to keep the calories down, and even if it's healthy, it's very hard not to overconsume, right? Because if you keep drinking, I guess we'll go pee, and then I'll come back, here's some more, right? So it's very, very tough to correctly proportion juices. Yeah?
Where do fruit smoothies fit into that?
Those are milkshakes with juice. There, yeah. Now, it depends what's in it, right? If it's water and strawberries and ice, most people wouldn't call that a smoothie. It's a healthier beverage, right? But when we start adding things like dairy products, ice cream, yogurts, the calorie count goes up very quickly. And if you're buying it at a store, remember this, guys, and this is a tricky thing in life. A lot of restaurants prepare food so that you'll buy it again. All right? That means they want it to be the tastiest thing you've ever eaten. You know what tastes really good? Fat and sugar. Tastes amazing. That's all cookie is. It's fat and sugar. They're great, right? That's an important thing to watch out for. Make a smoothie yourself. It might be healthy. Maybe. I wouldn't choose it for a client, but it's not a bad choice. Right now, trying to put on, we'll get to muscle in a second. Trying to gain weight, great, right? But trying to stay healthy and lose weight. And I didn't want to get into this today, but the glycemic impact of something like a smoothie is going to hit a lot harder than the same amount of food, right? So because we lose all the fiber when we have a smoothie. Make sense?
Would a smoothie or juice work in substitution for a meal?
I hate it. Yeah, you can, but I hate it. Otherwise, Slim Fast would be a billion-dollar industry right now. You know, it's very, very tough. It's very, very tough. You lose out on so many things, man. The fiber's down, and a lot of times you're gonna maybe not that day, maybe not every time, but a lot of times you'll drink it and then be hungry later and reach for more food, and now you've compounded, right? So I'm really not a fan. The exception I make is if you're really, really just on your feet all the time and you literally can't stop to eat a meal. I can make an exception there. And then there are ways to base diets around liquid, but they're not very sustainable, and they eventually alter your digestion in fun ways. Right? Goes out the way it comes in. So, that. We talked about this earlier, guys. Protein, fiber, and fat is our triumvirate of satiety, right? So when we're really hungry, and we're like, man, I'm just so hungry, and I don't want to eat a lot of food, but I want something, think about trying to find things that are fatty, healthy fats, right? I find that to be the least good of the three. High in fiber, that's my favorite. Apple with a glass of water, set for a couple hours. Or high in protein. Those are all going to help satiate that hunger drive in your body. Food addictions. So, food is a thing people get addicted to. We don't talk about it, but it is a thing that happens. They actually measured, this is a neat story, white bread. That was the one they picked. It was not a name brand, right, but probably Wonder Bread. Right, anyway, they measured white bread. They had people eat some, you know, and they measured people's brain scans. And it looked just like the same parts of the brain lit up. The exact same parts, exact same ways. So you build these food addictions that you don't even realize you have, right? And that's just chemical. That's just neurological in the brain, right? Let's not even talk about food addictions we develop because this is what my mom made when I was a kid. Or this brings me comfort because, you know, when I went to grandma's house, I could smell the lamb and rice when I walked in, and that just sent me. You know, I was there, right? We have those food addictions as well. So when you're looking to change your diet, know that that's going to be an obstacle, and just know those foods don't need to go away forever. They just can't be staples. We should treat those foods with the respect they deserve, and make them occasional things that are truly special, and not things that we try to eat every day or once a week or things like that. Okay. That's all. No? All right. Okay. Probiotics. I'm not going to talk to you guys a lot about this. This is sort of out of my scope, admittedly. But it is good to ingest probiotics. You don't need to go out and buy pills, guys. Anything fermented already has probiotics in it. So pickles, kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, kefir, right, all that stuff already has probiotics in it. I do recommend bringing some of that into your diet. Okay? What's the other? Kombucha, right? So these are all things we can sort of mix in. And some kombuchas aren't too bad for you. These are all things we can sort of mix in a little bit here and there. It will really help your digestion. And that's why a lot of these green supplements work so well, is a lot of them, they aren't just the vegetables, but also probiotics as well, that help your body digest, right? A lot of folks who go for those green supplements, what they really need is to figure out their probiotics and get that in check, right? And chew the food. Guys, this is such an important rule. Don't be weird, right? And this is also, no one here is too young. I was worried a lot of the kids got me home, just chilling, so that's good. But when I tell this to my clients, the rule is actually don't be an asshole. I've been to weddings where people are like, oh, I can't have this, I have to be lean, I'm gonna diet. Like, fuck you, bro. It's a wedding, right? Unless you're like, no man, my cousin Tracy, she will get married again, trust me, right? Then maybe you say like, I'm gonna pass on this, right? But as long as you're not an addict, right? Have a glass of champagne for the toast, right? Your buddy's back in town, you haven't seen him in 2 years, go get a fucking beer. Okay? Don't be weird. And this works into our thing I call the 90% rule. Your body will follow what your diet consists of 90% of the time. Right? That means deviances, little allowances here and there are totally okay. It's totally fine. And in fact, in order for us to live in a society, they're necessary. Because we're going to have those moments where, guys, if my grandma makes hush meat, I'm eating it. That's like mostly rice, and there's like a little bit of, because they were poor, you know, so there's like a little bit of lamb in there, but it's mostly rice, and then like lamb broth in the rice, and it's fucking delicious, right? And it's so good. And she makes grape leaves, dolma, right? It's just more lamb and rice. And if she makes, it's all lamb and rice, you know, anyway, right? But like, if I go see grandma and she puts out the food, I'm not, oh no, grandma, I'm on a diet. Because I said that once, and you should have seen her face. And I was like, I'm just kidding, give me the food, right? She's actually very respectful of all of it. She's very proud of her grandson losing all his weight. But it's tricky, guys, where you have to sort of have these abilities to allow some deviances. Does that make sense? Good deal. To give you guys a really concrete idea of what the 90% rule is, imagine this. Imagine you eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. That's 21 meals, right? So that means easily 2, if not 3 of those meals can be total clusterfucks. And we'll probably do okay, right? I wouldn't go totally off the rails. I personally never try to do it on purpose. I might have a burger here and there, or some pizza once in a while, but I'm not going to go. I've been kicked out of a buffet before. Imperial Buffet in Plainville. The Chinese buffet is still there. The guy comes in, you have to leave. And I was like, what? He's like, you had too much food. Very proud of that. But it's a true story. And I was there with my buddy who was like, I'm never coming back with you again. This is terribly embarrassing. And again, guys, I'm going to say this again. Don't let perfect get in the way of good. We want the 90% rule. Maybe you're 60% right now. Don't go to 20%. Fight for 60. If you can get to 70, that's an achievement. You won. High five. Right? And then we're trying to think, and then we're going to try to work to 80%, and then 90%, and then we're good. Right? Unless you're Nate, you want to take your shirt off every day. You know? My favorite is when his shirt's off and he's wearing gloves, a hat, and sweatpants. Like, you're not cold, bro. You're not cold. Alright? So, keep that in mind. More tricks. It's time for fat loss. You must lift weights. Muscle burns calories up here, and we're both 190 pounds, and I am a svelte, currently like 12% body fat, and this John is currently a not so svelte 20% body fat. This John burns more calories, despite being the same weight, the same height, the same fucking person. Having that different ratio there makes a big difference. And it's not slight. If you guys ever use the InBody here, you'll see as you gain muscle, it tells you how many calories you can have. That starts to shoot up the more muscle you're carrying. Because muscle requires calories to stay alive, right? Also, lifting puts you in a, I'm going to forget what this is, anabolic state, but there's another term. Produce more glucagon, I think. Just a protein which causes fat cells to release their energy. It's the opposite of insulin. I think it's glucagon. I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, muscle and lifting produces that hormone that tells your body to release energy, which we want, right? That's how you burn the fat. Eat your high fiber foods, right? Get your probiotics, focus on nutrient density. That's going to allow you to be more satiated more often, right? Require less snacking. By the way, snacking, totally against it. I don't know if I go into this in one of the slides, but hunger is not an emergency. I'm hungry right now. I didn't finish my lunch earlier. I haven't eaten since 9 a.m. It's getting really hungry. Not an emergency. I'll be okay. I'm not going to die, right? And we're going to keep the chain going. Make sense? Stay hydrated, right? Taking in liquid helps increase satiety. It's also just a good idea in general for your health and wellness. Stay moving. If everyone in the world would eat like this and go for a walk 30 minutes a day, I'd probably be out of business. That's why I stay close to Russ, because people always want to train martial arts, so that keeps me in business, right? But if people would just walk 30 minutes a day and eat better, there would be no obesity problem, there would be no any of that. Everyone would fucking look really good and feel really good. That's it. You don't need to do a high-intensity interval training circuit. You don't need to do the battle ropes for 40 rounds of 20 minutes. Oh, right? Don't need any of that. Go for a walk. Eat better. That's it. Yes?
Does it really matter when, like before or after?
Ooh, up to you. I like an after meal walk personally. One tradition my wife and I have during the warmer months, we actually try twice a week. We try to walk to dinner and then walk home. It's great. Chai comes. It's a good time. French fries, maybe a little bit, you know. So, yeah, totally up to you. It can even be for me whenever you want, right? I, by nature of my work, I'm walking all day long, right? But I have clients who are very desk bound. I'm like, you have to. There's no way you have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, go for a walk. You'll feel better, I promise, right? Find those little pockets of time, and it's so good for your mental well-being, your stress, your emotional stress. Just to get up and move a little bit. We're built for it. We're not built to sit down. We're not built to be here all the time, right? We're built to move. So get up and walk. I try to tell people that if you can accumulate 30 minutes over the course of the day, great. It doesn't need to be all at once, right? At least 1 gram of protein per pound body weight. Now this is important for the body weight you would like to achieve. And so this is if you do want to sort of measure this stuff out and you want to do a little extra credit work, you can check this out, right? Now, I don't recommend anybody try to lose more than 10% of their weight at a time. I don't. If you do, take a break. Especially if you're stressed out. If dieting stresses you out and you've lost 10%, if you weigh 200 pounds down to 180, and you're like, man, this is really tough, let yourself go back to 190. It sounds nuts, but it will dramatically increase your long-term adherence. It will dramatically increase your lack of craziness. And it will also help your body lose more weight. Because the more weight your body loses, the more desperately it clings on to the weight that it still has. By giving it that little bit, it's almost like, you ever watch Austin Powers, where Mini-Me's beating him up, and then he's like, oh, peace. Oh, and then he sucker punches him. That's what you're doing to your fat, right? So you're just like, you're giving it that little sense of like, oh, things are okay. All right. And then when it's completely unaware, you attack it again, get down to 170. And then you let it creep back up to 180. So you're purposely allowing this sort of sway, right? It's very important. Now, can you just go ahead and diet and just lose weight? Yes, absolutely. If dieting is completely non-stressful for you and things are wonderful and you're like, I feel great all the time, my energy is great, I'm sleeping really well, I'm not sad, there's no negative side effects, right? This is great. But a bunch of different negative side effects can come from undereating. If you are a woman and you're not getting your period, that's one. It's a big one. If you're a dude, you're having dude hormonal issues, which means that you're a whiny mess, or parts of you don't work that should. There's a 13-year-old here. Right, then that could be not enough calories. Right? So just be aware, right? It's not a bad idea to have that fluctuate. Get a meal plan or a coach. So if you're really determined to lose weight, I recommend finding a coach. Some people need the meal plan, they need the structure of that. Some people need the accountability. A good coach can do both. Right? I have some clients, all they do is they pay me, literally, they pay me to email them once a week and say, how's it going? They need that. They need that check-in. And we talk on the phone once a month. So once a week they get an email, and if they don't get back to me, I find them. All right? And then once a month, we have a phone call. Hey, let's get really into it. What's going on? Any problems? Things going good? Right? We sort of have like a heart-to-heart, come to Jesus talk about how things are going. Right? So, depending on your needs, either one of those could be important. Muscle gain. The other side, and look, some of you guys will like sit here and bellyache about this. The clients I've had who had to work the hardest were the ones trying to gain muscle. It is so much harder to force yourself to eat steak than it is to eat a little bit less each meal. It sounds like it's not, but trust me, it is. Right? And they all hate it. So when I was a heavy lifter, my coach was like, you need to put on 20 pounds. And I was like, it's easy. Yeah, I've been here before, right? But a lot of the other guys on my team were like, yo, I hate you, man. Like, I can't put muscle on like you can. And I was like, it's easy, just eat until you're happy. Right? So that's, that's what it is. But for muscle gain, right, you must lift. How about the SAID principle? This is a very important thing that Cody should know. which is specific adaptations to implied demands. In other words, your body will help you do what it's doing. It's a very simple way of thinking about it, right? If I want to gain muscle, I need to lift. And my body will say, oh, wow, that was really heavy. Because your body is constantly trying not to die. And if you do something really heavy, your body goes, oh, that almost killed us. Maybe next time we should be stronger. And it puts some muscle on. Right? And that's how it works. That's it. So you have to lift to gain weight. Or to gain good weight, muscle, right? If you're not lifting, you're not going to gain muscle. That's it. And the older you get, the more you have to lift weights just to keep your muscle, let alone gaining it. Liquid calories. So, smoothie man, smoothie king, right? You're trying to put on muscle. Hey, liquid calories can be your friend. I tell this story a lot, but I was coaching a kid who had to put on weight for weightlifting. And I had to call him one night and aggressively talk him through drinking a chocolate peanut butter and smoothie. Milkshake, actually. Because he was like, I'm done, dude, I'm done. I can't consume any more calories. And he was like 500 calories under what we needed to hit his weight goal gains, right? For that day. For that day. Not for the week, for the day. And I was like, name deleted for privacy. You need to drink that fucking milkshake. And it was so, and he and his wife, and like, we're all friends, so like, we still laugh at us. Because he's like, I can't. Like, drink the milkshake, man, you can do it. Like, imagine that, right? It's like chocolate milkshake, it's delicious. You know, and he's like, ah. Right? But it's tough. So wherever you can get your calories, we'll talk more about calories in a minute, but very briefly, but that's an idea, right? You want to actually avoid high fiber food if you're trying to put on weight, right? So like apples, berries, citrus, out. Papaya, mango in, baby, right? Let's go. And get those higher calorie, lower fiber foods, right? Get those. You need the calories to grow. Importantly, cardio is not random. A lot of folks trying to gain weight and go, oh, well, I'm not going to do my cardio anymore because I'm trying to put on muscle. Well, one thing, that just puts on muscle. Cardio activity is what actually increases the venous supply to those muscles, which means those muscles you're building, they need capillaries to support them. If you're not doing cardio work, they don't have it. You have to do both. Otherwise, you just got these big slabs of useless meat on your body. All right? So cardio is going to, again, feed that venous supply to the muscles, make them work better. So you have to keep on doing your cardio training. Sorry. Otherwise, you could be just big and useless. That's up to you. No one's ever come in this door and been like, oh, what are your goals? Oh, I'm big and useless. Do I have the thing for you? Let's get you to Domino's ASAP. So, again, at least 1 gram of protein per pound body weight. But now, again, this is your goal body weight. And just like with losing weight, I caution folks about gaining more than 10% of their body weight at a time. Because it doesn't happen in a vacuum. If you put on muscle, you're going to put on fat. And that can be really tough here. Because what does society want us all to be? Skinny and pretty, and they don't appreciate the thickness. Right? So while you're putting on that size and getting stronger, you can have some tough mental debates about like, man, you know, I've always valued looking thin, this and that. Now I don't look the way I want to look. Or I actually had a girl leave because I lost weight. That was weird. But you know, maybe you're getting pressure at home from like your parents, or you're getting kind of fat, right? Or your significant other's like, oh, I don't know about all this weight you're putting on, right? And they just don't appreciate the gains. It's just how it goes. So it can be good to go up a little bit and then come back, and then go up, or to go up and stabilize. Right? Your body is much better at putting on weight than is losing it, because losing it will kill you. Putting it on doesn't kill you as quick. So your body's way better at putting it on. So you could just put on and stabilize, and put on and stabilize. Again, get a meal plan / coach for the same reasons. And my favorite bullet point: become the sauce boss. Get lost in the sauce. Start putting ranch dressing and everything. Right? Load it up, because that's an easy way to access more calories to your food. That will help you, again, at the end of the day, it's just calories in, calories out. Man. As long as your protein's high, you jack those calories up, and it can make your food more palatable. One thing I ran into is why we had the chocolate banana milkshake. It's very high palatability. High palatable foods are easier to overeat than low palatability foods. So again, a great way to, add some weight is just to make foods taste better. And increase variety will also increase palatability. Make sense? Yes.
So, like, when you are trying to put on muscle and gain weight, I mean, at what point like how much should you be paying attention to like nutrients still, that kind of thing? If you're just living off, milkshakes.
So we're eating the same diet we were.
Oh, just
We're just adding,
I see.
right? So we're still getting all those vegetables. We're still getting all those fruits. We're just putting cheese on our vegetables, or ranch dressing or whatever, right? We're just finding ways to add, right? And the initial thing, actually, this is all like, it's not working. The first thing you should do is go, I'm adding another hand of protein. That's the first thing you should do. But now you're like, it's not working, I'm not gaining muscle, I'm not getting bigger, what do I do? Well, you forced Cody to drink a gallon of milk each week. Remember that? That was fun, you loved that. So, that's right, you have to sort of find other ways to increase caloric consumption.
Okay.
Right? Very good questions, guys. You're all so smart. We're getting close to the end, but it's another great one. Setting yourself up for success. Grocery shopping. To Jeremy's point earlier, it is very overwhelming. And people get paid a ton of money to make you spend more money at the grocery store. They arrange things in certain ways. They build packaging that is very enticing for you to buy things. They put deals on certain things they want you to buy. That whole building is an establishment designed for you to spend money. They don't care about your health or your wellness. They don't give a shit. And anything that, I'm very Rage Against the Machine, guys, I'm sorry, but like, anything they do that looks like that is a way to spend more fucking money. Because like, oh, they do care about me, take my dollars, right? It's all a farce. They don't care. They just want money for their stockholders to increase their bottom line. So you need to arm yourself in preparation. I recommend keeping to the outside of the grocery store. I've heard this before. All the really bad for you shit is in the aisles, and a lot of the really good for you shit is in the outside. It's like the frozen section, the vegetables, and like the meat and dairy. That's pretty healthy stuff, man. And while we're on topic, there's nothing wrong with buying frozen vegetables. They're as healthy as fresh. And they're usually a lot cheaper. A lot cheaper. So it can be, if you're on a budget, man, you call it on a budget. Get them frozen Brussies, right? Whatever you need to do to make that work. Make a list when you're not hungry. I do it after eating breakfast before I go out to the grocery store. I do my groceries on Saturday morning. It's me, Betty White. I mean, it's just like all these old ladies. We're just killing it. And I'm like the one non-octogenarian there, but it's great. So that, you have to make a list, guys. And don't buy it. It's not on the friggin' list. You made the list for a reason. And I always tell Cody, when she asks a programming question, I'm like, what's in the program? Because Smart John wrote the program. Right? Smart John sat down at a computer and wrote the program. Dumb John today doesn't know what's in there, right? Non-hungry John wrote the grocery list. We need to trust him. He's smart. Current John, who's getting hungry by the second, not to be trusted. Right? Ooh, fish sticks, right? Like that's, you're going on a bad road. What's your why? So this is a little bit of a deeper topic and less funny, but why are you buying groceries? Is your goal to fuel yourself, and make yourself healthy, and take care of yourself? So when you reach for Oreos, which are, in my opinion, disgusting, remember, like, all right, what purpose does this serve? Ask yourself, are these Oreos healthy? Are these part of what's really going to serve my goals? And there is no, in my opinion, worthwhile goal served by Oreos, right? Go buy a real cookie. Right? That's how I feel, right? Get some good shit. That's like the, I don't think any drug jokes, I'm sorry. Little one. The kid's like hide the oregano and the weed, and you're like, something's wrong with this weed, right? That's the Oreo cookie. Go get the good shit, right? Go get the hashish. All right, so this is very important, right? If you don't have it, you can't eat it. Right? Simple. Another strategy you can do is, which we do in our house, isolate all the bad things in one area of the house and just don't go there. You don't have to, right? So like we have a cupboard above. It's like the hardest one to access. It's like above the stove, so you're like never really like, right? And that's where all the cookies go. And so just, go there, right? Healthy shit's over here, in the fridge, or this, right? But in times of my life, I have banned stuff from the house. But it's a really easy way to get divorced, so I don't do that anymore. But yeah, it's just if you don't have it, you can't eat it, guys. Simple. Yes.
See, that's a good point. You don't be the asshole.
Yeah.
At the same time, you got to break social norms.
Yep.
Like social norms in my family, being from the South, dinner's big, dinner's huge. Girlfriend now, she wants dinner to be big. She wants to have snacks later. How do you balance that without being an asshole?
That's a great question. So I will now go into full disclosure. My wife is here, so it's a little embarrassing. We have a section in the house that's her section, and that's where most of the bad shit is. That's fine, because Sam can't eat. I've seen it happen. So if you guys are non-believers, this happens. Sam can buy like 20 cupcakes and like eat one of those cupcakes and be like, that was good, I'm satisfied. And I'm like, there are 19 more cupcakes here, we gotta eat these things. What are we doing? What are we talking about? So that's my problem. It's not her problem. She doesn't need to suffer for that. So the way I manage my diet in my life is separate from the way she manages hers. And that for me has been the best success, right? The toughest part for me was, like I said, I moved out of my house, and over like a couple of months I lost 70 pounds. Moving back home for a little bit, for vacations and stuff, I was actually like ridiculed by my family. And, often they're gonna watch this video and be like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But it was little things like, you know, we go out to eat somewhere and they go like, oh, can you eat here? I don't know, can we bring John? And that always was like, fuck you. You know, because like I was like, I had heart conditions and like diabetes stuff, and my doctor was like, you're gonna die. And here I am. Back then I was 170, I was super cut, and I was like, how are you guys giving me shit for getting my life in order? It was terrible. But I learned, like I do this whole speech with you guys, humor is the best way to learn, right? So I just laugh. I'll buy something. Maybe I'll get the grass outside, you know, like, this is the way I went. I'll hunt something, you know, find a squirrel. And be in control when you can, right? So when I go to see my family, I spend the time I can at home with them, but usually I spend a lot of time with bike rides, going for jogs, things like that. And at least that helps counteract some of the calories. And, you know, when I travel with my family, I keep to that rule a lot. The hand size stuff helps a lot. But it's tough. It's real tough. And it's just a matter of being like, again, 90%. And this is the fail-safe part of this. If you're with your family for a week and you eat shitty for a week, and you go home and you go back and eat well for a week, you'll erase it. You know, you can always balance the scales. So, hope that helps. It's tough, man. That was hard for me, real hard. And luckily now, my family, they've all gotten in better shape. They lost a lot of weight. They all say like, hey, thank you, because you taught us how to do it. You know, so it's pretty cool. But that was tough for a long time. All right. Taking a detour versus throwing out the GPS. We just discussed that. That's pretty cool. Look at that. All right. Guys, you know, I was talking to a client the other day, and she said she kept on going off her diet because she would have like a dinner that was really bad, and then she would just eat bad for 3 days. And believe it or not, I mean, that might sound crazy. It happens all the time with people on diets. It happens all the time. And I said to her, if you were driving to Florida, and we weren't supposed to stop in Atlanta, but like there's a really cool like burger joint there, you want to stop in Atlanta, would you like go like, well now we're stuck in Georgia? Or do you stop in Atlanta and then we keep going to Florida? We have a detour, right? We take a little break. You ever been on Waze? It's like recalculate, right? So yeah, we can take a little trip off and then come back right on the road, and it might take us a little longer to get there. We'll still get there. But if we stay in Georgia, one, I'm killing myself and everyone there. I can't stand Georgia. But two, you been? I don't like Atlanta. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Yeah, terrible. But I'm not staying. But also, like, let's get back on the road, man. Let's go. Right? Let's keep going. One of my best friends lives down there now, and he's always, you should come visit. And I'm like, no. But he grew up in Hartford, and he hates it here, and he's like, maybe. So, anyway, get your sleep, guys. Sleep, I really want to make the next seminar on sleep. So be on the lookout in 2 months for a sleep seminar, because we don't have time to go into it right now. But just trust me, guys. And look, 8 hours is great, but for a lot of people, 7's enough. And for some people, 9 is too many. Right? And for some people, 9 is perfect. And for some people, 7 is perfect. It's a big range. Okay? For most people, we find 7 to 9 is good. Right? But it's going to vary person to person. And just know that when you're sleeping, that's when your body is, one, learning jiu-jitsu, believe it or not. That's when you actually internalize new habits and skills. 2, building muscle. 3, doing most of his repair work, which is actually when it's at its highest caloric burn. You often burn more calories sleeping than when you're active. It's crazy. That's true. So if you're not sleeping, you're missing out on all that. Also, if you're not sleeping, what are you more inclined to do? Eat more food. Eat more food. I used to have a lot of trouble sleeping when I was younger, and I would just eat. So I was up anyway. And then when you think about the calorie total that you accrue just by those extra hours, it's crazy. Mindless eating versus mindful eating, we already talked about this, guys. But let's really get into it. If I'm going to grab a snack, again, I don't like snacks, I'm not a fan. I'm going to grab one to go watch a movie or whatever, and I grab the entire family-size Lay's bag of chips. I am going to eat, I am now a family of one. I am going to eat the entire family-size bag of Lay's chips. It should say family-size or one Durrett. Right? Right? And I'll take it all down. Now, if I take a little bowl of chips and make a little serving size for me and leave the chips somewhere else, and I'll only eat the bowl. That's it. Right? So that's a really important way to keep things in check. Also, right, if I am mindfully eating, this is a big reach, I know, because of the computer attached to our bodies. Try to eat and do nothing else. You guys always see me eating and coaching, it's so tough. But try to eat and do nothing else so you can be with the meal. It will increase your satiety, increase your appreciation for the food. And you guys know I'm a Buddhist. There's a beautiful whole package of gratitude packs that you can do while we eat. It makes you a happy person. It makes you feel nicer to be around, right? So be with the food. Don't be eating the food and watching a YouTube video and also like painting a picture and I don't know whatever else they're talking about. Sudoku over here, right? So be with the food. Set minimums. I love this one. This is my favorite one. I think of the whole presentation. Maybe this is all too much for you right now. Maybe you're like watching the seminar, I can't wait till he's done, I just want to leave, this is all making me sad. Alright, set minimums. Maybe the first thing you do week 1, which is going to be, by the way, Monday for you guys, right? Or tomorrow, start early, I like that. Maybe you're saying, you know what, from now on, I'm getting those handfuls of vegetables. The rest of that shit, I don't know. But I'm going to eat those handfuls of vegetables, see what happens. Like, oh, vegetables are good for me, I feel good. Hey, alright. I'm going to add a glass of water to my meals now, too. Right? So things like that. Set minimums. Especially useful when you're on vacation or with family. Right? Give yourself little minimums you can qualify for. Maybe now is not the time to have a full board diet. Maybe it's a good time to set some minimums for myself. And so we have eat vegetables every meal, eat each meal mindfully and slowly to 80% fullness, right? Remember, Coach Red's always ready to fight. It's important. And I'm going to drink 8 to 10 ounces of water with each meal, things like that. Again, hunger is not an emergency. Beware snacking, right? It's very easy to overeat while snacking. And hungriness is not always equal to need for food. When I work with clients who are trying to lose weight and they're really struggling with hunger, I tell them to codify in their brain that the hunger signal, it's not literally this, but that hunger is literally the feeling of your body burning away the fat. And then you start to be like, oh yeah, I like that feeling. I like that hunger feeling. That's cool. I like that, right? It's a great way to reprogram and sort of hack your brain a little bit. Set process goals, not outcome goals. These are really important, guys, who lead you to success. Try to set a goal each day for how many steps you're going to get. Make a goal for eating veggies, drinking water, or avoiding unhealthy snacks. These are much easier than setting goals on the scale. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Or I'm going to gain 10 pounds of muscle. Right? Pick little process goals. You can reward yourself for those along the way. Set yourself for success part 2. Use small plates and bowls, especially when considering the portion graphics from earlier. Right? I showed you guys those plate pictures. I take photos of these, right? If the plate's this honking big, it's not going to work. My mom has plates this big. You've seen them, right? If the plate's this big, now we're talking, right? It's going to work really well. Okay? Avoid snacking. We already said that a bunch, which is always a bad plan. Really easy to overeat. Know your triggers and trigger foods. Do you eat more with certain people? Do you eat more when you're stressed out? Are there certain foods you can't seem to stop eating, even when full? Do you have to finish the entire tub of hummus? Yes, I do, right? So things like that Avoid those foods, those situations, those problematic conditions that will lead you to overeating. Right? That might mean, hey, whenever I go out with this guy, we always get 3 beers. I don't need to not go out with that guy. I need to know that always happens. I'm going to have 1 beer, call it. And if that person cares about you, they will respect that, right? Simple as that. Or my dad always wants to get burgers. All right, well, I'm going to get the healthy burger and no fries. But as long as we're being mindful, we can find these little traps we get put into that can really be sabotaging our diet, our chance to be better. Question? No? Cool. All right. Oh. What happened? What did I do? Aha! Failing to plan is planning to fail. So you could prep food, right? Bring healthy food along the way, or know where you can get healthy food during your daily life. There's always healthier options, right? No matter where you go. And then we want better over perfect. We're always looking for improvement, not perfection, right? Having only 1 healthy meal a day is better than not having any healthy meals. 5-6 servings of veggie a day, 3 to 5 servings of lean protein, hard to go wrong with that. And then learn to forgive yourself, guys. Right? That woman who got stuck in Georgia, she couldn't forgive herself. Right? You have to learn to process and move on and say, okay, well, that was a bad week. Somehow I managed to eat birthday cake every morning. Okay, well, next week I'm going to be better. Right? Stop buying cheap cake from Stop and Shop. And do some better things. So, now we're getting sort of the end of this, guys, but the biggest thing I run into with people is they don't want to meal prep. So I promised I'd talk about this. We're talking about not meal prepping and also how to buy out when you're eating out. So, learn where you can get healthier food options. Grocery stores sometimes have grab-and-go options. Think about building meals when you're out somewhere that look like that plate from earlier. That's why I said, please, take a photo of the plate, right? It should look like that. If it doesn't, probably not a great plan, right? When in doubt, eating a plate of mostly vegetables, it's really hard to go wrong there, guys. Really hard, okay? Chinese food restaurants, guys, this is the key. They will look at you weird, like real weird, but it's the key. They will have an option, every single one I've ever been to just get meat, vegetables, and rice. No sauce. They don't make it. You can even ask for no rice, and they will think you are Satan. They'll do it. They'll be like, all right, weird white person, here you go. And they look at me so weird. I used to go to New Park #1, because we used to be on New Park. I'd walk there every day for lunch. For like $5, they do a whole day's worth of rice, beans, or fruit in one serving. Guys, this is rampant right now. There's tons of places. This is a healthy bowl. It's acai and sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar. And it tastes delicious. And it's fruit, so it must be good for you. But if you actually look at the calories, it's 30 your days of calories, right, for the bowl. Then you're hungry now, and there's no protein in there, no fat, right? So watch out for that. Be wary of meals that have more than one carb source, like potatoes and bread, or rice and beans, right? These are going to be really easy ways to overeat on carbs. Real easy. Okay? We didn't cover this earlier. I count beans as a carb, guys, not as a vegetable. So, remember that from earlier? Let's rewind. Many restaurants, and speaking from a long experience, will trade out items on your plate for more veggies, especially if you lie about having a food allergy, which I have done a lot. I can't eat this. Oh, I'm so sorry. More broccoli. And that's how that works, okay? So that's a great way to navigate that, right? Especially if it already is included with the meal. If you're out and it's like, they do too much rice at this place, but they do chicken and broccoli. Hey, can I have double broccoli, no rice? Almost every restaurant will say yes. There's no skin off their nose, so they're fine, whatever. Worst case, you're going to cost extra bucks. And then always refer back to our portion guide, low meat and veggies. I know this is redundant, but I really want you guys to get that in. If you do get salad, get dressing on the side, dip, right? This is important. Sam is way better at this than I am. I can't do this. Split a meal up and learn to have leftovers, right? Leftovers are just the poor man's meal prep. You know what I mean? Like that's just, all right, this is tomorrow's breakfast, right? Again, I can't walk away. Many things in life. I always finish, right? Better or worse. Alright, this is the end of the seminar, guys. We're going to be sort of closing out with the next few slides. But before we continue, we're going to very briefly discuss calories just for context. Just for context. A lot of photos from this one. Crazy. The average woman needs 1,800 to 2,200 calories per day to maintain weight. The average man needs 24 to 3,000 calories per day. Sorry, 2,400 to 3,000 calories. That's 24,000 calories. Oh my god. 2,400 to 3,000 calories per day to maintain their weight. Weight is gain or lost in deficits or excesses of 3,000 calories below or beyond maintenance thresholds for a 1 pound difference. So, to make that really simple, what does that mean? If I have a caloric intake need of 2,400 calories a day, over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year, I must consume 3,000 calories total over that threshold to gain weight. So that could be as simple as adding about 500 calories a day, which is what that kid had to do with the milkshake, right? Or it is as simple as reducing. If you want to lose a pound a week, eat 500 less calories a day. Now, it could be a lot of food, right? So we can also say, hey, if we do 100 calories less a day, guess what happens? You want to get at math? Over a month, we're losing a pound? That's not bad. I'll take a pound a month. And 100 calories a day is easy. That's dead easy. Okay? So, questions on that? This is not a calorie talk, so I don't want to get too into that, but yep.
It is, sometimes like you get freaked out and you're like, I just won't eat because it's too much. So is not eating one meal a day, intermittent fasting,
Yeah.
1 meal a day, is that just as bad as all this?
No, intermittent fasting is fine. All intermittent fasting really does that we've studied. So there are a ton of claims for intermittent fasting, but the only thing that it's shown to do in clinical studies is just reduce calorie intake. That's it. There's no other benefits. It's not going to make you be able to chew lead, spit bullets, or any other dumb shit they tell you in the magazines. But it does generally reduce calorie intake. Excuse me, you're only eating those animals, right? So not a bad thing, but if you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, etc., you still have to make sure you're hitting your calorie thresholds. And there is such a thing as undereating, so your body will sort of not lose weight if you're undereating. It doesn't want to die. And these companies, you'll see poor sleep, hormone problems also come along with that. Joint pain issues, injury rates go up. So a lot of things come up with lower intake.
Plus, sustaining it at some point you crash and use.
That's the other problem. Yeah, it's not a sustainable diet, right? All right, so I made this. It was a lot of fun making this. So on the left, we have some bad options from fast food restaurants. On the right, we have some good options from fast food restaurants. Gene's excited.
Oh,
so
that's what I get when I go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'll just get this.
Our Dunkin' Donuts bagel sandwich, on average, and again, we talked about calories just so you guys have a frame of reference. On average, 600 calories, just the sandwich. All right? Dunkin' Donuts wake up wrap, 200 calories. You can have 3 wake up wraps in exchange for 1 sandwich, and you'll probably feel better. Chipotle burritos / bowls, 1,000 calories on average. As high as, it was very easy, I was using that little quickie thing, it was very easy to make 2,000 calorie burrito. It's fucking dead simple. So like, if you eat a Chipotle, there's a high chance you've had, and when Nate, Steph, and I were bulking, we used to lift, that was our way we bulked, went to Chipotle. And we traded off on different days who paid. Because you could easily rack up, like, if you eat 3,000 calories to gain a pound, buddy, we're almost there. Yeah, right? So that. Now, the Chipotle salad with chicken, rice, and veggies and salsa, only 450 calories. It's 370 if you're willing to choose beans over rice. That's crazy, right? That's so much better. Panera Bread, the Italian combo sandwich, not counting chips, apple, any of that shit, 980 calories for a sandwich. By contrast, you can get the Panera Bread half turkey avocado BLT and a cup of chili and an apple, 600 calories. Huge difference based on how you order. We'll have a summary of this later. McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese, 740 calories. McDonald's grilled chicken sandwich with no mayo, 200 calories. Bizarre, right? Starbucks grande caramel frappuccino, 570 calories. Grande coffee, 5 calories. What a difference, right? You can taste that difference a lot of time. So, I know we'll get some photos of this one. This is our fast food cheat sheet, ladies and gentlemen. I've spent a good amount of time assembling this for y'all. This is what you can order at McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Subway, Taco Bell, Starbucks, KFC, Panera Bread, Chipotle, Dunkin' Donuts, Chick-fil-A, and end out pretty healthy. I'm not going to go over this. If you want a photo of it, get it now. No judgment. I'm not going to judge you guys. But these are the healthiest options. You will notice a trend. A lot of these are egg white, grilled chicken, right? Vegetable options. There's an oatmeal on here somewhere, right? But this... It's on their website. It's on their website. It's on their website. So, but yeah, guys. So this is, I know some of you guys, life is tricky, right? We get in these tough spots. You'll notice, again, there's a trend here. Also, generally speaking, going double meat is going to be the healthier way to go. Even if that means ordering 2 sandwiches at the spot, throwing out one of the buns and double stacking the meat. Your boy has done that a bunch of times when in a pinch. Definitely a good way to go. And will be more satiated, more healthy than getting like French fries. Okay? Does anyone else need this so we can move on? Yeah, what's up?
So if you're trying to gain weight, can you do the quarter pound?
I mean, yeah, right? It's not a bad strategy, right? But it's also not a great source for fuel, right? Yeah. If you're, or like today's my rest day, so I need to work out. Someone's gonna slam cheeseburgers. Like, yeah, go for it, right? 100%. Yeah, a lot of the stuff works in inverse, right? Just make sure you're keeping your protein high. Where a lot of folks go wrong is they add a ton of calories, but their protein isn't matching the need they need to gain weight. So they put on a lot of fat, not a lot of muscle. That's it, guys. Questions?
Back to the sleep one. I know the break range is from 7 to 9. Is it more effective if you're not sleeping at night? Like if you work third shift, you're working throughout the night. Even if you're getting the 7 to 9, does it matter when you're getting it?
It's an amazing question. Unfortunately, yes. This is a really cool. I know you guys. There's tons of fun nuggets in here. Every cell on Earth has a circadian rhythm. Not every person. The cells in your body know when it's nighttime. So like the cells in your liver know when it's nighttime. That's bizarre. That's nuts, right? But it's true. And we ought, if it's a bat, circadian rhythm is different. For humans, the body wants to operate with that rhythm. Now, people work third shift, it's a thing. So, how do you best hold on, I was ready. Alright, how do we best deal with that? Okay, this is going to trick your body a little bit. These chemicals will help. Okay, so melatonin, ZMA, which is zinc and magnesium blend, usually with L-theanine, which is a B vitamin. GABA is something acid. Gamma something acid. It's in asparagus. It's naturally occurring. And salmon. But you're never going to get enough to have the effect, especially when you want to load it. You can take up to 750 milligrams at a time without any side effects. It's going to greatly reduce your cortisol. So again, that will help you fall asleep and stay asleep, right? Circadian rhythm generally is driven by cortisol. So we can trick it a little bit by loading a lot of GABA, right? Melatonin is the hormone that helps your body sleep, also fights aging for the body as well. So adding a little bit of melatonin, 3 milligrams, help your body fall asleep. Right, so we can create the chemical reactions that are normally driven by the body's circadian rhythm, and that will trick it a little bit into thinking, maybe it is nighttime. I don't know, I've been evolving for billions of years and it doesn't feel like nighttime, maybe it is, right? And then they'll sleep a little better. Right, ZMA I like, magnesium helps people fall asleep, zinc helps normalize hormone levels in people, which is what's being regulated while we sleep, so very, very helpful. And again, the ZMA I buy has L-theanine in it, which also helps your body relax even more. Right, to really build down that relaxation state. You also want to sleep in as much total darkness as possible. You can sleep in a broom closet, whatever you got to do. Blackout curtains, make it dark, and just try to trick your body into thinking maybe it is nighttime. But we were watching that documentary about that guy in the cave. Remember that? You don't remember that? Probably on TikTok or something. Anyway, this guy was in a cave, and they had him guess when it was nighttime. And he was like almost always accurate.
He sounded like 3 months.
Yeah, it was fucking weird. And he was like pretty on point for how many days had passed and like when it was nighttime or not. It's crazy.
Did it say why that was?
Because your cells know. Your body just knows. It has a built-in internal clock in the cells of your body. So it's real tough, but you can sort of trick it a little bit by hitting this up. Also, guys, I realized when I was making this, I forgot to put vitamin D on here. The vitamin D goes up there. 2,000 IUs in the summer, 4 to 5 in the winter. Usually a good way to go for that. Any other questions? Boom.
Okay, so I guess one about like meal time, especially with protein. Like if you're someone that doesn't necessarily like eat a lot in the morning, does it make sense to have like a couple meals, like 3 or 4 like handfuls of protein and then like level off, or do you really generally want to be spacing it out throughout the day?
I prefer spacing it out because your body intakes it throughout the day, right? So there's a big benefit to that. You don't have to. To Jeremy's question earlier, you could eat all this food at once. It'd be a lot of food, right? Or you could do it 2 meals a day or whatever, right? And remember, we can always acclimate to this over time, right? As far as nutrient timing, depending on your day, right? I like to carb. I like to put so I generally like to do protein throughout the day. I put carbs earlier in the day, sugar earlier in the day, and fats later in the day. That's assuming someone is active during the morning, afternoon, and less active at night. If the inverse is true, I will occasionally flip that a little bit. But usually I put fat at the end of the day. It's also better for sleep. So. Questions? Boom.
On the scheduling, is there a certain time before you go to sleep you don't want to eat? Because I've always heard, like, don't eat before you go to sleep because you'll just gain it.
I thought Connor was going to ask about protein timing as far as workouts. And this won't answer your question, I promise. They did a study 60 years ago on protein timing, and they found that you really had this anabolic window, right, where you had to consume protein after working out, or it wasn't going to really upload to the muscles well. And not that you couldn't eat the rest of the day, but you had to do it you had I think a 30-minute anabolic window post-exercise consumption. And there was a scientist who said that doesn't make sense to me. So he ran the study. And they ran the study again, guess what? No anabolic window. The first study was false. And there was much rejoicing, and everyone was like, oh, it's all bullshit. But then the third scientist, thank God, came along and said, well, hold on. The science in the first study only measured adults 40 and up. The other scientist studied college students. Is it different? Show is. Your anabolic window gets smaller as you get older. So eating protein, consuming protein post-workout, extremely important for the older athlete, not important at all for the younger athlete. Right? In the same way, for some people, myself included, eating before bed fucks me up. So I have to eat like vegetables and things that are easy to digest, like egg whites or yogurt, for my last meal of the day. Anything else, I better have a good window or I'm not going to sleep well. I think Sam could drink a coffee and eat like a bagel sandwich in bed and fall asleep and be fine. And just like, she'd probably sleep better. She'd be like, I'm so full of these delicious foods. Yeah. She'd be like eating the eclair and just like, so yeah, I don't know, it's different person to person.
But does it make because I was always told if you eat right before bed, it's just not going to do anything, it's going to turn to fat.
Oh, definitely not true.
No.
What it does do is it fucks your sleep up, and all those hormonal cycles we were talking about earlier will not happen as efficiently. So you won't burn as many calories, your body's not regulating hormones correctly, you're not getting the deeper states of sleep. And again, for some folks, it doesn't matter. I got a buddy who can have a glass of whiskey before bed, no problem. If I have a glass of whiskey 5 hours before bed, I'm kind of like, oh, I slept kind of funky last night. Person to person. Someone else have a question?
Is sauce gravy? Because my family is Jamaican, and Jamaicans put gravy on everything, on fish, on seafood, and there's a very strong vegetarian culture, so like there's a bunch of vegetables in our meals too, but it's just like, I don't know, I think we get this weird sense when like we're gonna go on a diet or eat healthier, and it's like none of the foods from our culture are included in like this is what you should eat.
That's a great question. The short answer is yes, but the longer answer is the more homemade a sauce or a gravy is, generally the healthier it is. And generally the more you can alter it to make it healthier. Sometimes I make homemade barbecue sauce, I get bored, and the stuff I make is super healthy. You know, I use tomato paste and orange juice, a couple other ingredients, pineapple juice sometimes. I reduce it, you know, it comes out, it's really nice, tangy, sweet, but it's not loaded with added sugars, it's not loaded with added fats, no oil in it, right? So I can make a really healthy sauce that can make food a little more palatable and more diverse without making it really bad, right? And again, it also comes down to what's your end result goal, right? We don't all need or want to be the person with the fucking 12 pack over there, right? Like, and for a lot of us, so I experiment, I'm my best lab rat, and I experiment myself all the time, and I got super lean a year or two ago. I think it was a year ago? I don't know, whatever. And I was doing a test the in-body, so we got a new body fat scanner, and I was like, we'll see how I get this. I got super lean, I got the 6% body fat, and I was like, oh, this, and you could see like my bones. And then I went to a company that had like the top, this is not the top end body fat scanner. It's good, but it's not the best in the world. So a company on the road has one of the best in the world ones. I had to pay like $100-something to get scanned on it. It was dumb, I just laid in it, and I was like, and it was totally in line with the in-body. So I was like, all right, this is great, so it's pretty accurate. And then I was like, I should get some blood work done. And I'm probably super healthy right now. And my testosterone was lower than a teenage girl's. Lower than a non-teenage girl. I mean, it was, and a bunch of other blood markers were off and this and that. And so I put on, I just stopped being an idiot, and I put on like 10 pounds, went from like 180 to like 190. And my doctor called, I got blood work done, and she was like, are you on steroids? I was like, no. And she goes, I've only ever seen this kind of a turnaround in testosterone when someone's on steroids. So it was actually, I looked, and Nate and I joke around all the time. Nate's a good friend of mine, so I beat him up today, but we're good friends. I looked like Nate. For me to look, for my genetics to look like Nate was literally killing me. Nate looks like that. His health is great. It's just genetics, right? Got the thickness. Lebanese genes, man. That's what it is. So. Someone else had a question. Jesus, yeah.
So snacking was brought up a lot. Is there a best time to snack? Is it okay to snack in between meals?
So, we're doing a lot of baseline stuff here, right? My personal schedule for food is meal, snack, meal, snack, meal, meal. Yes. Okay? But if you take everything I eat and parse it into that little rubric we gave, it still ends up the same amount. But based on my schedule, my training especially, it made more sense to break out that way. So as long as you're sticking to those total amounts, you can snack. But it's very easy to go off the amounts. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned testosterone. What other food groups besides like red meats and stuff would help enhance that even?
Oh man. The biggest thing is sleep and training. So like lifting weights 3 to 5 days a week, getting plenty of sleep. Diet's not a huge factor in that. If our goal was to get Gene as wet as possible, right? Sleep, and this is a weird metaphor, but stay with me. Sleep and exercise would be like throwing buckets of water at Gene. Diet would be like a little squirt gun, right? So it makes a difference, but like I want the bucket, I don't want the little squirt gun, right? So yeah, not a big. Making sure you're getting enough calories make a big deal. And then outside of that, there have been some studies that zinc can up testosterone, but it usually doesn't get it past your body's high production rate anyway. Does that make sense? So like you can't, your body has set ranges, and you're only going to be able to operate in those ranges anyway.
So more to do with like physical activity, more so than diet.
Yep, exercise and sleep, way more important for hormone production. As long as you get in the balanced diet with fats and meats and all that stuff, it'll be fine. Yeah. Try not to exclude food groups.
Kind of confused by the weight gain or loss with the 3,000 calories. Is that over a day or over a month?
Any amount of time.
So it's like, if I can take 3,000?
You could do it in a day, you know what I'm saying? I've done it. But it's much easier to plan it out over the course of weeks and months, right?
So the excess would be like 3,000 over a month.
Right. So if you looked at like, I'm not good at math, so don't even ask me. But if you had like whatever 1,400 calorie or 14,000 calories a week, you would need to eat 17,000 calories that week to see a 1 pound increase. Does that make more sense? Okay.
So in a situation, if you know, like, you're gonna be eating bad, or you know you're gonna have a huge meal, or you're going to the Big E for the day, like, does it make sense? You know you're gonna go off your diet the following day or days. Do you want to either go back down, like, do you want to go down to a deficit, or do you just want to keep maintaining, kind of vice versa?
Yeah.
If you are under calories when you're trying to bulk, like, is there the following day, do you want to be in an extra surplus?
So it's corny to talk about, but I try not to go with the eat bad thing.
Okay.
It sounds really hokey and stupid, but over the long term of your life, it will help you to stop thinking that way. What you talked about was a celebration, right? You were attending a celebration. That's a good thing, right? My buddy and I have this rule: no bad days, right? So there is no bad day, right? You attend a celebration, you had a good time, you were out with your friends having a good time, right? Now, if in the pursuit of fun, right, perhaps my caloric load is a little intense, just go back to normalcy. Don't try to, your body's gonna even out, right? It's almost like literally scales, right? So you don't want to go, oh no, because then this happens, right? You want to go to here. So you go back to your regular diet, it will all equal out, and it'll null out in the end. So you'll be heavy for maybe a couple days, especially the sodium and the fat and stuff. But I challenge you to eat enough calories in the Big E to overcome a pound of weight gain. It's tough. I've done it, but it's challenging, right? So you're really not doing a whole lot of damage, and over the course of, to Brandon's point, 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's all going to null out anyway. You know?
Sweeteners.
Sweeteners.
No sugar, but for coffee, tea.
Yeah, so there's no negative, so there's no real negative side effects to artificial sweeteners. I think they're kind of gross. Just taste kind of chemically. And there are some that can cause you to poop yourself. You don't see those too often. I think it's erythritol that does? No, not erythritol. I forget. One of them can make you poop. It's like yeah.
Some people
It's just gonna transition.
Yeah. So,
transition and then
like, there's a lot of like bad things. Oh, Diet Coke will kill your brain cells. The study, first of all, the study was on rats, and they gave those poor rats more aspartame than you would need to drink like a gallon of Diet Coke 3 times a day for a month to get, like, good luck, buddy. Like, your bladder will explode before you get brain damage. So there are some negative studies they've done, but the loading that's required is, I think, inhumane, the way they treat those animals to find a negative side effect. So you're pretty safe. But it's just, the only thing is that when we talk about our food addictions and our habits, if I get really used to this highly palatable, sweet sort of foods, I begin to crave that more. And in the absence of it, I'll seek it. And when the option isn't there for me to have the healthy one, I'll get a donut, right? Any other questions? Oh, God,
Well, it's an easy one, right? Like the magnesium, glucose, things like that. Do I have to buy that stuff separate, or if I take like a multivitamin?
Oh, great. So we'll go over this chart really quick. So omega-3 fish oil, you guys all know what that is. I recommend buying that from a reputable source. A lot of fish oil is rancid when you buy it, which is gross. And that's when you get the burps. Usually that fish oil has gone bad and just spoiled. So you want to get this from good, reputable companies that carry high quality. This is not to hawk this, but I do have a wholesale account of supplement company. And I can get you on this. Or you can get it yourself, I don't care. But that, so omega-3 fish oil, and you want it to be a blend of EPA and DHA fish oil. One is good for the joints, one is good for the brain. I personally want both to be good, so I mix them both. EPA is joints, DHA is brain, I believe. Creatine, big fan, big fan. 3 to 5 milligrams per person per day has been shown to increase muscle function, increase cellular energy production, which is not just good for your workouts, but also good for your brain. Very, very good to throw this in some coffee in the morning if you got a very high, if your job requires a lot of brain work in the morning. Creatine's also been shown to reverse CTE a little bit. It's pretty dope. But you have to have it in your body system when you get the concussion. It doesn't work very well post-concussion, right? But in the presence of creatine, CTE tends to be less dramatic. Most creatine is the same, so that you can kind of buy anywhere. It's a monohydrate, so like, and don't be, there's like fancy creatines, like I swear it's better. It's not. Creatine monohydrate is the best one. It's also the cheapest, and people will lie to you, get your money. Like we said earlier, don't trust anybody. Magnesium, I definitely recommend for athletes. Most athletes are deficient in magnesium because you expend a lot when you exercise. And it's very hard to get enough through your diet to counteract that. For sleep, we went over the ZMA, the GABA, the melatonin. For the joints, this is super important, guys, because these two have to be together. Collagen requires vitamin C to be absorbed. So if you're taking collagen but not taking vitamin C, the collagen is not working. Okay? Also, in order for the collagen to work, it doesn't pick and choose on your body where it goes. So if you want to see results from collagen, you have to take it for a while. Because it's just going to disperse where it feels like it. So like your knees might still hurt. And you're like, this collagen's not working. It hasn't gotten there yet. It'll get there. If you want to get it there faster, do lightweight exercises to failure in that region. And your body will slightly prioritize collagen production in those joints. Okay? I also recommend combining your collagen with another protein source because collagen is an incomplete protein. So your body will absorb it better in the presence of other proteins as well. So at night I make a casein collagen mix, a little bit of vitamin C in there down the hatch. Glucosamine and chondroitin usually come together. Those are both just lower joint inflammation and increase the, what am I trying to say here? Your joints don't, right? All right, so everyone got that, good. So that's what we do there, right? So as for multivitamin, yes and no. I don't hate multivitamins, I'm not against them, I don't care if you take one, but usually the loading of each nutrient is not high enough to create a clinical response. Right? We need to talk about clinical dosing, right? It's actually very important. It's another reason to buy supplements from good companies, because usually the percentage content in the supplement is high enough to create a clinical response. And when you hear or read something in the news, guys, and they say like, studies show that this affects that, right? The big one's vitamin C, right? People say, oh, studies say vitamin C, increase this for this person, so make sure you eat your oranges, guys. Yeah, bullshit. You need to eat 40 fucking oranges. You need a strong vitamin C dose to create that. So always look up the studies, or ask me, I'll do it. I love doing it, I'm a nerd. Magnesium, I didn't do this, I should have done this. There's like 12 different kinds of magnesium they can sell that they call magnesium. I think glycinate is the one that like actually works. And one of them makes you poop, and one of them doesn't do anything. And so there's a bunch of different magnesiums that could be in your pill. Oh, it's magnesium.
Yeah.
But glycinate, I believe, is the one that actually affects the things we're trying to affect here. That help?
Yeah, it does.
Anything else? I can go all day, man. All right. Well, that went way longer than I thought it would, but thanks for coming, guys. Hope that was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm still hungry. Yeah. I'll get the bowl, right? We get 2 bowls. Yeah. Oh, really got on the right track here. Let's go.